4 sweet fruits that fight diabetes with flavor and flair. Imagine standing in a sun-dappled orchard, the air heavy with the scent of ripe fruit. You reach for a plump blueberry, its deep indigo skin promising a burst of sweetness. Or maybe it's a crisp apple, its ruby red surface cool against your palm, whispering of autumn's arrival. Perhaps it's a handful of cherries, their glossy sheen tempting you to pop one after another, or a pear, soft and golden, yielding to your bite with a gentle sigh of juice. These are not just fruits, they're nature's candy, gifts from the earth that delight the senses. And here's the twist, these sweet treasures, often feared by those wrestling with diabetes, are not your enemies. They're your allies, armed with science-backed powers to help tame blood sugar, soothe inflammation, and restore metabolic harmony. For too long, the story about fruit and diabetes has been a grim fairy tale. Sugar is the villain, fruit is its sugary accomplice, and both must be banished from the kingdom of health. But life isn't a black and white storybook, and neither is biology. The truth is far more vibrant, like the colors of a farmer's market in full bloom. Certain fruits, blueberries, apples, cherries, and pears, don't just taste good. They work hard behind the scenes, wielding fiber, polyphenol, and bioactive compounds to support insulin sensitivity, curb glycemic spikes, and even whisper sweet nothings to your gut microbiome. They're not magic wands, waving away type 2 diabetes with a single bite, but they're powerful tools in a broader arsenal of lifestyle choices. This article isn't just a dry list of facts. It's a journey, a love letter to food's ability to heal, a roadmap for anyone navigating the choppy waters of diabetes or prediabetes, and a celebration of how sweetness can still have a place in your life. We'll dive into the most luscious, common fruits, unpack their scientific secrets with clarity and wonder, and show you how to weave them into your daily rhythm with practical tips that feel less like a prescription and more like a feast. By the end, you'll see these fruits not as forbidden treats, but as vibrant partners in your quest for health. So, grab a seat at the table, and let's dig in. Blueberries, tiny jewels of metabolic magic. Picture a summer morning at a U-Pick farm, your fingers stained purple as you pluck blueberries from their bushes. These tiny orbs, no bigger than a dime, pack a punch that belies their size. Sweet yet tart, they burst on your tongue with a flavor that feels like a secret only nature knows. But blueberries are more than a seasonal delight. They're metabolic superheroes, cloaked in deep blue skins that hold the key to better blood sugar control. The science behind the sweetness. At the heart of blueberries' power lies a group of compounds called anthocyanins. These are the pigments that paint blueberries with their jewel-like hues, but they're far more than eye candy. Anthocyanins belong to the flavonoid family, a class of polyphenol with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory superpowers. They don't just sit idly in your body. They get to work, tweaking the dials of your metabolic machinery. One of their star moves is activating AMP-activated protein kinase, AMPK, a cellular enzyme that acts like a master thermostat for energy balance. When AMPK flips on, it's like hitting the gym without leaving your kitchen. It boosts glucose uptake into your muscles, revs up fat burning, and tells your liver to ease up on pumping out extra sugar. In studies, anthocyanins have been shown to light up this pathway, creating a metabolic environment that mirrors the benefits of exercise or fasting. It's as if each blueberry is a tiny personal trainer, cheering your cells toward better health. But that's not all. Anthocyanins also play defense, shielding your body from the chronic inflammation that fuels insulin resistance. In type 2 diabetes, low-grade inflammation, sometimes called metaflammation, creeps through your tissues like an unwelcome guest, driven by cytokines like TNF-alpha and IL-6. Anthocyanins crash the party, dialing down these inflammatory signals by modulating pathways like NF-κB. The result? A calmer, more insulin-friendly body. Then there's the gut connection. Your microbiome, that bustling city of bacteria in your intestines, plays a starring role in metabolic health. Blueberries' fiber, about 2.4 grams per 100 grams, and polyphenol act like a gourmet meal for beneficial bugs like Akkermansia mucinifera and Bifidobacterium. These microbes thrive, strengthening your gut barrier, reducing leaky gut-driven inflammation, and even producing compounds that enhance insulin sensitivity. It's a ripple effect. One handful of blueberries can shift the microbial tides in your favor. And let's not forget oxidative stress, the cellular rust that accumulates in diabetes. High blood sugar churns out reactive oxygen species, ROS, damaging insulin receptors and beta cells, the pancreatic heroes that produce insulin. Blueberries' antioxidants swoop in like firefighters, neutralizing ROS and protecting these vital structures. In animal studies, blueberry extracts have even preserved beta cell function, hinting at their potential to slow diabetes progression. The evidence in action. Science isn't just lab coats and test tubes. It's real people seeing real results. A 2010 study in the Journal of Nutrition brought this home with a randomized controlled trial involving 32 obese, insulin-resistant adults. For 6 weeks, half the group sipped a blueberry smoothie daily, while the other half got a placebo smoothie match for calories and fiber. No diets were changed, no gym memberships required. Yet, by the end, the blueberry group showed a striking improvement in insulin sensitivity, measured by the gold standard hyperinsulinemic euglycemic clamp. This method tracks how much glucose your body needs to stay stable under insulin infusion, a direct window into insulin's effectiveness. The placebo group? No change. The blueberries stole the show. Other studies echo this. Epidemiological data from large cohorts, like the Nurses' Health study, link higher blueberry intake to a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. And in smaller trials, blueberry consumption has reduced markers of oxidative stress and inflammation, paving the way for better metabolic health, bringing blueberries to life. So, how do you harness these tiny powerhouses? First, stick to whole berries, fresh or frozen, unsweetened. Blueberry juice strips away the fiber matrix, sending sugars racing into your bloodstream like a sports car with no brakes. Dried blueberries, often coated in sugar, are no better. Whole berries, with their 2.4 grams of fiber per 100 grams, slow digestion, keeping glucose spikes gentle and steady. Aim for 1 to 2 cups daily, 150 to 300 grams, a dose backed by trials and easy to weave into your routine. Toss them into Greek yogurt for a creamy, protein-packed breakfast. Blend them into a smoothie with spinach and avocado for a nutrient-dense lunch. Or scatter them over a salad with walnuts and feta for a dinner that sings with color and flavor. The fiber, paired with protein or fat, keeps blood sugar stable, as continuous glucose monitor, CGM, data often shows minimal spikes, sometimes less than 20 milligrams per deciliter, in insulin-sensitive folks. Wild blueberries, smaller and more intense than their cultivated cousins, pack even more anthocyanins. If you can find them at a farmer's market or in the frozen aisle, they're worth the hunt. And here's a pro tip: eat them post-workout. After exercise, your muscles are like sponges, soaking up glucose with heightened insulin sensitivity. Blueberries in this window can replenish glycogen stores while their polyphenol reduce post-exercise inflammation. A personal touch. I'll never forget my friend Sarah, a 45-year-old teacher diagnosed with prediabetes. She loved sweets, but felt trapped by the no-fruit myth. When I suggested blueberries, she was skeptical. "Aren't they just sugar bombs?" she asked. But she gave it a shot, swapping her evening ice cream for a bowl of blueberries with a dollop of whipped cream. Weeks later, her CGM data showed flatter glucose curves, and her energy was steadier. "I feel like I'm cheating, but I'm not," she laughed. That's the beauty of blueberries. They let you savor sweetness without the guilt, all while working overtime for your health. Why blueberries matter? In a world obsessed with cutting carbs, blueberries remind us that inclusion can be as powerful as elimination. They're not a cure-all, but they're a delicious rebellion against the idea that diabetes management means joyless deprivation. With every bite, you're not just eating fruit. You're fueling a cascade of metabolic benefits, from sharper insulin response to a happier gut. So, next time you pass a pint of blueberries at the grocery store, don't hesitate. Grab them. Your body will thank you. Apples, the everyday hero with hidden depths. An apple sits on your kitchen counter, unassuming yet iconic. It's the fruit of school lunches, pie baking marathons, and Johnny Appleseed's legend. But beneath its polished skin lies a metabolic marvel, ready to rewrite the story of diabetes management. Sweet, yes, but apples are engineered by nature to deliver their sugars in a way that supports, rather than sabotages, your health. The science of simplicity. A medium apple, about 182 grams, packs roughly 25 grams of carbs, 19 grams of sugar, and 4.4 grams of fiber. At first glance, those numbers might raise eyebrows for someone with diabetes. But numbers don't tell the whole story. It's how they're packaged that counts. Apples are a masterclass in balance, blending soluble fiber, pectin, insoluble fiber, and a symphony of polyphenol like quercetin, catechin, and chlorogenic acid. Pectin, the soluble fiber star, transforms in your gut into a viscous gel, slowing digestion like a gentle traffic cop. This delays glucose absorption, flattening the blood sugar spike that follows a meal. Studies show that pectin can reduce postprandial glucose peaks by up to 35%, a game changer for insulin resistance. Insoluble fiber, meanwhile, adds bulk, promoting gut health and satiety. Then there's quercetin, concentrated in the apple's skin, so don't peel it. This polyphenol is a multitasker, scavenging ROS to curb oxidative stress, inhibiting lipid peroxidation, and calming inflammation via pathways like NF-κB. Quercetin also boosts GLUT4, the insulin-dependent glucose transporter, helping muscles and fat cells soak up sugar more efficiently. In rodent studies, quercetin enhanced glucose uptake by up to 20%, hinting at its potential in humans. Apples also nurture your gut microbiome. Their polyphenol and fiber feed beneficial bacteria like Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus, shifting the microbial balance toward insulin sensitivity. In animal models, apple extracts altered the firmicutes to bacteroidetes ratio, a marker linked to better metabolic health. Human data is still emerging, but the parallels with other polyphenol-rich fruits are promising. And let's talk satiety. Apples are nature's portion control experts. A study in Appetite found that eating a whole apple 15 minutes before a meal cut calorie intake by 15% compared to applesauce or juice. The act of chewing, the fiber's bulk, and the slow release of sugars trigger satiety hormones like GLP-1, helping you feel full longer. For someone with diabetes, where hunger signals can go haywire, this is a quiet but powerful win. The evidence in action. The science isn't just theoretical. A 2013 BMJ study, drawing from over 180,000 participants in the Nurses' Health Study and Health Professionals Follow-Up Study, found that eating whole fruits, especially apples, blueberries, and grapes, slashed type 2 diabetes risk. Fruit juice, stripped of fiber, had the opposite effect, driving home the importance of form. Another trial showed that whole apples before meals improved glycemic control and reduced hunger in overweight adults, supporting their role in weight and glucose management. Making apples your ally. Not all apples are created equal. Granny Smiths, with their tart bite and lower sugar content, edge out sweeter varieties like Fuji or Honeycrisp for glycemic control. But any whole apple, eaten with the skin, is a winner. Slice one into a salad with arugula, pecans, and grilled chicken for a balanced lunch. Pair it with almond butter for a snack that marries sweet and savory. Or bake it with cinnamon and a sprinkle of walnuts for a dessert that feels indulgent but keeps your blood sugar in check. Context matters. Eating an apple alone might nudge glucose up slightly in insulin-resistant folks. CGM data shows spikes of 20 to 40 mg/dl in some, but pairing it with protein or fat smooths the curve. And don't fear the fructose. A medium apple's 9 grams of fructose, delivered slowly with fiber, is a far cry from the 30 to 40 grams in a soda, which overwhelms your liver and fuels fat storage. A slice of nostalgia. Apples carry memories for many of us. I think of my grandmother, her hands weathered but steady, slicing apples for a pie while telling stories of her childhood. When I was diagnosed with prediabetes, I worried I'd have to say goodbye to that comfort. But learning about apples' benefits changed the game. Now, I crunch into a Granny Smith after a walk, savoring its tartness and knowing it's working with me, not against me. It's a small act of rebellion against the fear that diabetes steals joy. Why apples shine? Apples are the unsung heroes of the fruit world, accessible, affordable, and endlessly versatile. They prove that health doesn't mean sacrifice. Whether you're biting into one on a crisp fall day or tossing slices into a winter stew, apples bring flavor and function to the table, helping you manage diabetes with a smile. Cherries, sweet rebels with a cause. Cherries are the rock stars of the fruit kingdom, bold, vibrant, and unapologetically sweet. Pop one in your mouth, and it's a party. Juicy, tart, and just the right kind of indulgent. But these little rebels have a secret mission. They're fighting diabetes with every bite, armed with anthocyanins, chlorogenic acid, and a knack for taming inflammation. The science of seduction. A cup of sweet cherries, 150 grams, delivers 18 to 20 grams of carbs, 13 to 15 grams of sugar, and about 3 grams of fiber. But like a great song, it's the composition that matters. Cherries' anthocyanins, cyanidin, 3, glucoside and cyanidin, 3, retinoside, are antioxidant powerhouses, giving them their ruby glow and metabolic might. Like blueberries, cherries activate AMPK, the metabolic maestro that boosts glucose uptake, curbs liver sugar output, and enhances fat burning. Chlorogenic acid, also found in coffee, adds another layer, inhibiting glucose 6-phosphatase to lower fasting blood sugar and slowing carb absorption in the gut. Together, these compounds create a metabolic harmony that keeps glucose in check. Cherries also tackle oxidative stress, a silent saboteur in diabetes. Their antioxidants reduce malondialdehyde, MDA, a marker of lipid damage, protecting insulin receptors and beta cells. In animal studies, cherry extracts lowered MDA by up to 30%, preserving metabolic function. Inflammation, too, takes a hit. A 2006 Journal of Nutrition study found that 28 days of Bing cherry consumption cut CRP and nitric oxide levels in healthy adults, a boon for anyone with metabolic syndrome. Then there's the sleep connection. Tart cherries, like the Montmorency variety, are a natural source of melatonin, the hormone that governs your circadian rhythm. Poor sleep spikes cortisol, disrupts hunger hormones, and impairs glucose tolerance. A trial showed that tart cherry juice boosted melatonin and sleep quality, indirectly supporting glycemic control. Imagine cherries as your nighttime lullaby, soothing you into better health. And don't overlook the gut. Cherries' polyphenol act as prebiotics, feeding beneficial bacteria and producing metabolites that lower inflammation and strengthen the gut barrier. In rodent studies, cherry extracts shifted microbial profiles, reducing endotoxins that drive insulin resistance. The evidence in action. Human data backs the hype. Epidemiological studies link cherry consumption to lower diabetes risk, while smaller trials show reduced inflammation and oxidative stress. One study found that tart cherry juice post-exercise cut inflammation markers by 25%, suggesting benefits beyond glucose control. Cherries in your life. Tart cherries pack more anthocyanins and less sugar, but sweet cherries are no slouches. Aim for 1 to 2 cups daily, whole and with skin. Toss them into a spinach salad with goat cheese and almonds for a vibrant lunch. Blend tart cherry juice concentrate, unsweetened, into a post-workout smoothie with protein powder. Or enjoy a bowl of cherries as an evening snack, knowing they're helping you sleep and stabilize glucose. CGM data shows cherries typically cause modest glucose bumps, less than 30 milligrams per deciliter in healthy folks, especially with protein or fat. And they're a behavioral win. Their sweetness makes them a dessert substitute that feels like a treat, not a trap. Swap ice cream for cherries, and you're sidestepping the sugar crash while satisfying your cravings. A cherry sweet memory. I think of my uncle, a truck driver who battled diabetes but loved his cherry. He'd pull over at roadside stands in Michigan, buying bags of fresh Bing cherries to snack on during long hauls. When I told him about their benefits, he winked and said, "See, I was doctoring myself all along." Now, he pairs them with a handful of pistachios, and his A1C has edged down. Cherries bring joy to the table, proving health can't taste like punishment. Why cherries matter? Cherries are proof that you can't have too much fun. They're a burst of flavor and a metabolic boost, challenging the idea that diabetes means dull meals. Seasonal and celebratory, they fit into picnics, barbecues, or quiet nights at home, all while quietly fighting inflammation, supporting sleep, and keeping blood sugar in line. The next time you see a cherry, think of them as little rebels, fighting for your health with every juicy bite. Pears, the quiet champions of calm. Pears don't demand the spotlight. They're the wallflowers of the fruit world, soft and unassuming, with a sweetness that's more whisper than shout. But don't let their humility fool you. These gentle fruits are metabolic powerhouses, quietly working wonders for blood sugar control with their fiber, polyphenol, fiber, and soothing digestibility. The science of subtlety. A medium pear, 178 grams, offers 27 grams of carbs, 17 grams of sugar, and a hefty 5 to 6 grams of fiber, 20% of your daily needs. This fiber duo, soluble pectin and insoluble cellulose, creates a slow, steady glucose release. Pectin's gel-like action slows digestion, reducing glucose peaks by up to 25%, while insoluble fiber supports gut health. Polyphenol like epicatechin and chlorogenic acid, found in the pear's skin and flesh, enhance insulin signaling. They boost insulin receptor phosphorylation and GLUT4 expression, improving glucose uptake in muscles. In vitro, pear extracts inhibit alpha-glucosidase, mimicking drugs like acarbose by slowing carb breakdown. This keeps blood sugar curves gentle, a relief for insulin-resistant folks. Pears also cool inflammation. Animal studies show pear extracts lower TNF-alpha and IL-6, while boosting adiponectin, a hormone that enhances insulin sensitivity. Their prebiotic fiber feeds gut bacteria like Bifidobacterium, producing short-chain fatty acids that reduce systemic inflammation and regulate appetite hormones like GLP-1. Satiety is another strength. Pears' high water content and fiber make them filling. A trial showed women eating 3 pears daily lost more weight and improved insulin sensitivity over 12 weeks. And their low glycemic index, 30 to 40, and glycemic load, 5 to 7, mean minimal blood sugar impact, especially when paired with protein or fat. The evidence in action. A 2017 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition linked pear and apple consumption to lower diabetes risk in over 160,000 participants. Smaller trials confirm pear's metabolic benefits, including reduced inflammation and better lipid profiles in overweight folks. Pears in your life. Eat whole pears, skin on, to maximize benefits. Bosc or Anjou varieties are less sugary than Bartlett's. Less ripe pears have lower glycemic impact. Slice one into a turkey and goat cheese sandwich for a balanced lunch. Pair with walnuts for a snack that's both creamy and crunchy. Or roast with cinnamon for a cozy dessert. Pears are gentle on digestion, ideal for those with sensitive stomachs. CGM data suggests they spike glucose by 15 to 30 mg/dl and most, less with protein or fat. Their versatility shines. Toss into salads, puree into soups, or enjoy plain for a snack that feels like a hug. A pair of comfort. My neighbor, Linda, a retiree with diabetes and IBS, struggled with high-fiber foods. Pears became her go-to. They're soft, sweet, and don't fight my stomach, she said. She'd slice one with peanut butter for breakfast, and her glucose stayed steady. Pears brought her comfort and control, a reminder that health can be kind. Why pears matter? Pears are the quiet heroes, proving you don't need flash to make an impact. They're affordable, digestible, and versatile, offering fiber, anti-inflammatory compounds, and satiety in a gentle package. They're the fruit you reach for when you need a moment of calm, knowing they're quietly fighting diabetes with every bite.